This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of May 24th, 2021. Does it feel like you're in limbo? There's definitely a sense in the air of being suspended in time. This week we have count 'em, two planets stationing retrograde. One of them is the guy who likes to take things really slow, Saturn. He stations retrograde on Sunday the 23rd. And for all effective purposes, he's just been parked where he is now, and he isn't going to be moving for some time, weeks. He is sitting at the degree where he's going to collide again with Uranus in the middle of June for the second of three stress tests of new constructs, our relationship with each other, new ideas about how the collective is going to work, new ways versus old ways, a push for innovation, but basically now not moving at all. So whatever issues of responsibility, maturity, accountability, delay, patience that Saturn has been stirring for you, they're all gonna stay. The second retrograde involves Mercury, the planet that rules communication and getting around. He stations retrograde on the 29th and will be retrograde until June 22nd. The days on either side of a Mercury station can feel very much like time has slowed, like we're being suspended in the air. Notice the theme here. The week begins and ends with influences that underscore this atmosphere. It's not necessarily going to be quiet or still. Thoughts will be all over the place. We'll be wanting to go out and see people and do things and chat. By the end of the week, Mercury is going to be traveling with Venus. But all of this comes with the sensation of not being able to push anything forward. If you're familiar with the tarot, you might want to pull out the image of the Hanged Man and just tack it somewhere where you can see it, because that's what we're all doing right now, getting a different perspective, watching things play out, perhaps look at it as undergoing a spiritual process or initiation. And it's not like there isn't going to be a lot of activity of some sort this week, because eclipse season is back with us. This month's full moon in Sagittarius on the 26th is a lunar eclipse. It's a supermoon with the moon really, really close to the Earth. Emotions will be loud, fiery. This is one of those times when, I know this is going to be a stretch to put your mind to, but when beliefs and, politics end up becoming really, really personal and people have extremely emotional reactions to them. But this event has a really strong streak of endings. A full moon always brings things to a crest. A lunar eclipse always brings revelations and endings and chapter closings. And we could be hitting the end of the line in all kinds of things that we have believed that perhaps don't serve us any longer, or we don't realize that we have moved away from. Everything's supersized because the moon is in a square to its ruler, Jupiter, just barely in the early degrees of Pisces. Squares to Jupiter have the effect of taking bellows, remember what those were, and pumping on them so that whatever the target is just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This could have the effect of pushing you to be far more optimistic, pushing you to be broader, more expansive, more all-encompassing, more imaginative in the way you are viewing reality. I have three different analogies for thinking about this moon. One is in my forecast, which is look at your thoughts and beliefs as arrows in a quiver and think of, just evaluate them. Like, what's the condition of the arrows that are in your quiver? Are they sharp? Are they broken? Are they old? Do they need to be replaced? What happens when you shoot them? Do you know how to shoot them? The second one is burning bridges. In some cases, firebombing bridges. Again, we are at the end of the line in a lot of things that have stirred our emotions. We've been living for a couple of years in a bifurcated reality, a dual reality, and on a collective level, at least, something major, significant, event altering is going to happen because of these seemingly unbridgeable, irreconcilable points of view. Now, we don't all have to blow up and throw people out of our lives, but there is a strong possibility of not just burning bridges, but firebombing them, saying, that's that. I am done with that. I am done with you. I am done with this. And you might be on the receiving end of some of it as well. Always useful to look at this kind of event in terms of, what did I do to participate in this? How did I bring this into my life? And most importantly, how does this benefit me? Because the clearings out, the revelations, the chapter endings are inextricably tied to the ongoing stress testing that the Saturn-Uranus square is doing. Whatever is going on now is leading into whatever the next big shaking is for you in the middle of June. And if you're completely baffled about what I'm talking about, think back to the middle of February. What happened then? I'll give you a couple of collective examples that might jog your memory. The power grid went down in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex decided to record an interview with Oprah Winfrey, although this was not made public in the middle of February. I think they also announced their pregnancy at that time, and there was a development with Prince Philip's health at that point as well. So we're revisiting and dumping out a lot of things that we have lived by, a lot of beliefs that we have espoused, and we will be seeing the real world implications, what happens on the ground in response to things people believe, things people broadcast in the media, things people broadcast. Because you can broadcast on social media, you can broadcast in saying things to your friends and family. It's a real exercise in form follows thought, in seeing how what happens is a direct result of what we believe, what we've been saying, what we've been stirring. And this is a moment when we can consciously choose to get rid of some of it, and when we will actually see the ending of the hold of some of these beliefs. There may be a kind of misty, romanticized, I'm not quite sure what's real vibe in all of this. Venus and Neptune are squaring on the 27th. They are the guardians of inspiration and creativity. They are the guardians of love. So this could take some of the edge off the departures. There could be a wistfulness or an, oh, I see what's going on here. You might actually, believe it or not, wish people well, send people on their way with a blessing. I foresee an epidemic of people chanting the forgiveness prayer. Just keep in mind, there's more to every story, more to every story. The Mercury retrograde will bring people from the past. The Mercury retrograde will give us the opportunity to revisit and do over all kinds of things. The Saturn and Mercury retrogrades combined will prolong the playing out of all the dramas that are erupting around this eclipse. Endeavor to be a scientist in the laboratory of your life. Observe, take notes, and go, what can I do with this? Lots more about all this in my Mercury retrograde guide at Om Times, and also in the conversation about Mercury madness I had with Donna Woodwell on Celestial Compass. Links will be below. Homing thought of the week. What do I believe now? Song of the week, Perspective by Peter Gabriel. And the image of the week, I have two. This is the moment on the Himalaya carnival ride when all of the cars are just suspended before the ride kicks into reverse. And the second one is setting fire to a bridge. There's more about this in my forecast for the Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse, which is up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited and the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who are supporting my work there. I post on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.